here with a YA book review for you of Midnight at the Electric. This book came out in 2017. I feel like it may have came out in July or August, and it's by Jodi, Lynn Anderson, and it's a really interesting book. It's not very long. As you can see, it's only, I think it's like 250 pages or so. But it has a very intriguing premise, and the premise is that it follows three different girls. We start with Adri, who is in the future in 2065, and she's preparing, she's 17 and she's preparing to be sent to Mars as a colonist. Like, she worked really hard in school in order to be selected for this elite program. So we follow her, and the story opens with her, and it's told in a narrative. And then she discovers these like letters and postcards and things, and that takes us back to two other storylines, one being Catherine, which is during the Dust Bowl in Kansas, so like the 1930s, and then also Lenore, who lives in England like in 1918, 1919, 1920, so around the ending or after World War I. And we follow these three women and learn a lot about, you know, friendship and family and what true courage means and how, you know, to love and how, you know, we must sacrifice things sometimes as a result of our love. And really, I don't want to give much away because the book was really easy to read because it's so short, but also I felt this drive to know what happened. So I started the book, read like 60 pages, and then yesterday I picked it up and I finished it. So it reads really fast, and you find that like you really want to know what happens to these women. Less for me about Adri, although I wanted to know like whether or not she was going to decide that she wanted to continue with her childhood dream of going to Mars. But I was really caught up in Catherine's story and in Lenore's story. And probably for me personally, that's because those two stories had a romantic element to them, whereas Adri's did not. And so that is just something I personally like. So that's probably why I was drawn more to the two stories of those women. Plus I'm kind of old-fashioned in some ways, so I'm really drawn to certain periods in time, historical periods in time. But I really loved this book, and it's not complicated, meaning in terms of like writing style, it's pretty simplistic, but it's descriptive. And I found myself really emotional at the end of the story, as you know, the stories of each woman kind of comes to its conclusion, and you know, it really moved me. I know that like I read really fast, so I feel like I probably missed, you know, some things, and I think a reread would help me to maybe notice some other details that I may have just glanced over because I just needed to know what was going to happen. But it's a lovely story. In order to maybe help alleviate confusion, I think some kind of like family tree or timeline in the back of the book would have been helpful, not in the front because it would affect the story's plot, and as readers we don't want that, but it would have been helpful to look back at it because I kept trying to like sort through things in my head, especially because of the jumps in time, which by any means are not, you know, annoying or overdone in any way. Each woman has, I think, like 2 sections of the book, and their sections last for a really long time. So we start with Adri, and you know, I think like the first 60 pages were her, and then we go to Catherine, and then Lenore, and then I think we went back to Adri, and then I think Catherine and Lenore, and then Adri, I think is how it went. So, but just to see how everyone was connected, some kind of diagram like in the back of the book probably would have been helpful, or I guess I could have just made one on my own if I really wanted to set my mind straight. But I really enjoyed this read. I guess I would consider it historical fiction, and a little bit futuristic, but it's just a really interesting, well-told story. So if you're looking for something that's not too long and something that has good storytelling and that is moving with good themes, then I highly recommend you check out Midnight at the Electric. In the meanwhile, happy reading and happy